So take a look at this. On the left, we've got our familiar Scratch blocks. Super simple, right? The cat says, "Hello world." But now, look at the right. This does the exact same thing, but it's written in C. I get it. It probably looks a little wild with all those symbols and weird words. So, that's the big question, isn't it? How in the world do we get from these friendly, colorful puzzle pieces to what honestly looks like some kind of secret code? Well, the good news is you're way closer than you think. And here's the secret. The main ideas, the logic, the loops, the conditions, they're all identical. You already get it. All we're really doing here is learning a new way to write those ideas down. It's just a different syntax, a different grammar for the same concepts. So, what's the missing piece? Well, the secret is a translator. We need a special program that can act like an interpreter, taking the instructions that we can read and turning them into the language the computer actually understands. So, the code that we as humans write, that's called source code. It's written in languages like C, and it's designed to be readable for us, once you get the hang of it. The computer, though, it speaks a totally different language called machine code. It's nothing but a long stream of zeros and ones. That's it. This is the only language the processor can actually execute to make things happen. And that brings us to this three-step dance. First, we write our source code. Second, a special program called a compiler does the translation work, turning it into machine code. And finally, the computer can run that machine code. Write, compile, run. That's the whole cycle right there. Alright, that's enough theory. Let's actually see how this works in practice. We're going to walk through the exact steps to create and run our very first program right from the command line, which you'll often hear called a terminal. And here's your recipe for success. It's just 3 steps. First, you'll type code hello.c to open up a file to write in. Second, you'll type make hello to compile it. And third, you'll type /hello to run your program. That's the rhythm you're going to get used to real fast. Now here's the cool part. You don't have to build everything from the ground up. Programmers have these incredible allies called libraries. Think of them like spellbooks, just packed with pre-written code that lets you do powerful things without having to invent it all yourself. So yeah, a library is just a collection of this ready-to-go code. For our Hello World program, we're going to use a super common one called studio.h. Why? Because it gives us a key function called printf, which, you guessed it, lets us print stuff to the screen. Okay, awesome. We can print Hello World, but the real fun begins when we make our code smart. So let's see how that logic and repetition we already know from Scratch translates directly into C. Remember those if-else blocks? If something's true, do this, otherwise do that. Well, look at the C version on the right. The structure is basically the same. You've got the keyword if, a condition inside parentheses, and the actions inside those curly braces. The logic is 100% identical. It's just wearing a different outfit. Okay, pause. This is a big one. This trips up so many people when they're starting out. In C, a single equal sign means put this value into this variable. It's an assignment. A double equal sign is a question. It's for comparison. It's asking, is this value equal to that one? Mixing those up? Yeah, that's a classic bug. Now for repetition, C actually gives you a few different tools. On the left, a while loop just keeps on going as long as some condition is true, but on the right, a for loop is your best friend when you know exactly how many times you want to do something. They're just different ways to get to the same finish line. So, you're writing code now, which means you're going to have files all over the place. Just like you'd organize documents in folders, we use a few simple commands in the terminal to keep our projects nice and tidy. Let's look at the basic toolkit. Think of these as your digital power tools. LS is for list. It shows you what's in your current location. CD stands for change directory. That's how you move into a different folder. To create a new folder, you make a directory with mkdir. And finally, MV lets you move or rename a file, while RM will remove it for good. Getting comfy with these is going to make your life so much easier. So, as we wrap things up here, just remember this. This whole journey from the blocks of Scratch to the braces of C, it's not really about memorizing a bunch of weird symbols. It's about realizing you're just expressing the same powerful, logical ideas in a new language. The thinking is the real skill you already have. You now have the key. You can translate your ideas from visual blocks into real working code. You've made the leap from blocks to braces. So the only question left is, what are you going to build next?